Welcome everyone to the virtual walkthrough of the High Def Annual Assessment template for FY26, which was distributed to agencies on June 25th. My name is Caroline Cerny and I'm a member of the High Def team, and today we're going to cover some additional context and guidance regarding the annual assessment to facilitate your agency's submission process. So this training is going to cover three main sections. First is the context and overview section, which includes a policy overview of where the assessment comes from, assessment goals, and scope. Second, we're going to dive into the assessment instructions with the section-by-section walkthrough and details for how to navigate OMB Max and submit. Finally, we'll review the resources and support section, which includes an overview of everything available to agencies, key terms, helpful resource URLs, and next steps. So let's get started. First, some context and an assessment overview. So Circular A137, which is titled The Strategic Management of Acquisition Data and Information, provides the policy authority for the High Def Annual Assessment. It was released in May of 2024, and the circular establishes agency acquisition data as a shared government-wide asset, driving a shift from agency-owned to enterprise-wide data use. This means that the data must be standardized, interoperable, and most importantly, shared across agencies and used for decision-making, not just reporting. The circular is operationalized through two key components. One is the High Def Initiative, overseeing strategic data collection, and the second is Federal Procurement Data Fabric, or FPDF, which builds the government-wide data infrastructure. The core goals of A137 and the High Def Initiative are to enable evidence-based acquisition decisions, improve procurement outcomes, and ultimately achieve cost savings, time savings, and efficiency across agencies. So that's what we're really working towards, using agency acquisition data to improve outcomes and save time and money. Now that we've had some policy context, I will provide a quick overview of the assessment itself. So at a base, the annual assessment is a key requirement under Circular A137, which notes that all CFO Act agencies must develop and submit an annual High Def assessment. This is our first year, since last year was the baseline assessment, but you can expect this will be an ongoing process. Each CFO Act agency should prepare to submit one response per agency per year. This year, OMB provided the template to agencies on June 25th with a due date of August 17th by 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We designed the assessment to be as easy and light touch as possible, so hopefully it should not be a heavy lift. And really what we're looking for with this assessment are two key things. First is the current state. We want to understand the state of acquisition data infrastructure and the analytic capabilities across agencies. That is, what are agencies currently able to share with us? What kind of data and systems did they have? How easy is it to connect to on the whole? And the second one is readiness. We really want to use the results of this assessment to assess each agency's readiness to share the data into the FPDF, Federal Procurement Data Fabric, which, as we mentioned, is the data infrastructure for the High Def Initiative. The FPDF team will then use the information from this assessment to prioritize their engagement with those, what we're calling ready agencies first, and work with them individually to receive their data. To overview the process, agencies will submit their responses via the annual assessment portal in OMB Max Collect, inputting their responses to each of the three sections listed below. Jumping down, each agency's designated High Def official will be responsible for coordinating across acquisition, data, IT, and leadership to ensure the assessment is completed and submitted on time, and will ultimately submit via the OMB Max Collect portal. And if the term High Def official is new to you, know that we have a definition in the glossary of the slide deck, as well as within the template itself, but the High Def official is simply responsible for submitting annual assessments and will be involved with all key communications between the agency and the High Def Initiative. Your agency may have elected a High Def official during your baseline assessment, but either way, you will designate or confirm your HDO, High Def official, within your annual assessment response. And then this individual will be responsible for facilitating completion and submission. Before we dig any deeper, a quick note on the scope. This assessment applies to post-award acquisition data, which is the initial focus for the HiDef initiative. This includes data used by contracting and program officials throughout the acquisition lifecycle, such as contract documents, terms, conditions, rates, and prices paid. What it does not apply to is acquisition strategy and planning information or classified data, as the FPDF environment will be a FISMA moderate system and classified data will not be ingested. Okay, now on to assessment instructions. Okay, Section 0 is foundational. It provides the assessment overview and collects agency key points of contact for ongoing engagement. As I mentioned earlier, the HiDef team will actually use these results to plan engagements with agencies throughout the year, so it really is crucial that we have all these contacts to help facilitate those conversations. One of the points of contact required is the name of your HiDef official. In case your agency has not previously elected one during the baseline assessment last year, or if you would like to officially change your HiDef official, this annual assessment is a great opportunity to do so for the upcoming fiscal year in FY27. We will also require a procurement point of contact, a legal point of contact, and a contact from the Office of the Chief Information Officer. When selecting these points of contact for each role, please do consider who would be best positioned to address questions specifically related to sharing agency acquisition data with the HiDef initiative in their specific area of expertise. Tactically, this section contains 1 single select question and 3 short answer questions for the POC contact information. Right, that's Section 0. Section 1. This is designed to understand your agency's current enterprise data platforms or centralized systems that collect and consolidate data from multiple agency systems into a consolidated view. Databricks and Snowflake are examples of these kinds of software platforms, and also systems like VA's Adds Up or DOL's EDP are examples of these kinds of systems. We are interested in learning about enterprise data platforms because they offer the most efficient way for the FPDF team to access your data, which helps us evaluate your readiness for data sharing. We do, of course, recognize that not all agencies have these systems, but we want to know additional details from the ones who do. So this tab includes 2 single select questions, 1 optional open text box for explanation, and 1 enterprise data platform table that only agencies with a relevant enterprise data platform will complete. You may also need to submit attachments as part of this section. That will be via the OMB Max Collect. Okay. Section 2. This will assess your agency's maturity in data management and analytics and your experience with external data sharing. The results here will further help us determine which agencies are most ready to share data with us, and will prioritize agency engagement efforts accordingly. You're going to find 2 single select questions with a required explanation, 2 additional single select questions, and an optional open-ended space for further explanation. So that's it for the content of the assessment. Now I'm going to quickly go over the submission process, and the submission process involves 3 key steps. Number 1 is just review all sections to ensure all non-optional questions are answered and that the information is accurate and complete. Number 2 is submit responses via OMB Max Collect. This link will be provided on the annual assessment resources page on the Acquisition Gateway. A quick note there is that while this will be linked via the Acquisition Gateway, a PDF of all the annual assessment questions was provided to agencies on that June 25th email. And number 3 is coordinate follow-up. If follow-up discussions are necessary, the team will reach out to your designated HiDef official via email. And again, the deadline for all completed templates and attachments is August 17th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, now let's review some resources available to you as you go through and complete the assessment. You have multiple resources that are going to be available to you as you fill out and submit the assessment, both internal to your agency and externally provided via the HiDef team. Internally, we encourage HDOs or HiDef officials to utilize subject matter experts within their agency to help populate and validate responses. Agency structures differ, but generally, subject matter experts that lead acquisition data reporting efforts or personnel from Office of the Chief Data Officer, CDO, or the Office of the Chief Information Officer, OCIO, may be of help to you. The High Def team also provides many resources to agencies. The mainstay of these resources is the Annual Assessment Resource Hub on the Acquisition Gateway. Here you can find all of our annual assessment resources, including the following. Number 1, training materials, including this very video recording, as well as the slides as well for your offline use. Another is a PDF version of the questions in the annual assessment. Again, this is included on the Acquisition Gateway page, and it was also sent out to agencies in that initial June 25th communication. A third is registration links for live office hours. These are going to be held by the High Def team on July 16th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and August 6th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. These will be live sessions that are a great opportunity. We can answer any agency-specific and lingering questions that you may have as you're filling out the assessment. Another thing that's included on this page is an FAQ section that we will be updating over time as we receive and respond to questions from agencies. And then, of course, you can always email the High Def team. We are available at HIDEF, that's HIDEF, at gsa.gov with any questions or requests, and we'll respond as soon as we are able to. All right. The next few slides are going to provide additional resources within this deck that you can use, such as a glossary of terms and a list of links. All right. As you may have noticed, the assessment includes a few terms that may be ambiguous or unfamiliar to some. Key terms are highlighted and defined in the assessment itself on Acquisition Gateway, as well as on the OMB Max Collect link. However, on this slide, you can also see definitions for all key terms in one place. As mentioned, this deck is available to you on the Annual Assessment Resource Hub, so definitely feel free to bookmark this slide for your use as well. And finally, this slide provides direct links to helpful resources, including the OMB Circular A137, Annual Assessment Resource page on Acquisition Gateway that I keep plugging, and also the registration links for our July 16th and August 16th office hours. We've also included hyperlinks throughout this deck that you can access, but we know that some agencies are not permitted to use hyperlinks, so you can also access the direct links right here. So that's it, the introduction to the annual assessment. We just went over a lot, but to wrap it up, here are your 3 key next steps to remember. 1, most important, submit your completed templates by August 17th, 2026, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Number 2 is stay informed by following updates on that annual assessment homepage on the Acquisition Gateway. We'll be updating that periodically. And number 3 is send any remaining questions or comments that you may have to the High Def team at hidef@gsa.gov. Thank you all very much for your time. We appreciate your efforts, and we look forward to reviewing your responses.